Hi, I'm B-Town, and I make videos about games I love. Thanks for being here, and I must say, you look amazing today. Now, we all know the Fallout franchise is absolutely perfect in every way, but over the years there have been some perks that miss the mark a little bit. Today, we're covering the top 10 worst perks to ever disgrace the wasteland. Number 10, Explorer. This is Google search the perk. It's a level 20 perk in Fallout 3 and New Vegas that automatically reveals every unvisited location on the map. But here's the catch. They're revealed, not discovered. So you can't fast travel to any of them. This is the definition of a wasted perk. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you only get a perk every 2 levels, so they're all really precious. And spending a perk to half-ass unlock the map is a tragically bad choice. These games are old, but they don't predate the internet. Just open your phone and find a map online. There was also a perk with the same name in the older 2D games, but it worked differently. In 1, 2, and Tactics, Explorer increased the chances of discovering special places and people. But the percentage increase was so low that it actually wasn't worth it at all. It was like an additional 1%. It was ridiculous. Wrecking Ball. No, not that one. And before we get into it, I just want to say Fallout 76 is a real game and I won't apologize for that. A Bethesda dev recently revealed that this perk has the lowest usage rate in 76, and there's a good reason for that. Wrecking Ball is an intelligence perk that grants the player additional damage against workshop objects. There are 3 ranks, each more worthless than the last. If you rewind the clock a little bit, 76 launched with a pretty undercooked PvP system, and over time the community has moved further and further away from combat. 76 isn't a proper survival game. It's a cooperative MMO with an amazing creative community that loves building camps and showing them off. And here's mine. Isn't it kind of cute? Doing more damage to workshop objects also doesn't really matter because they have a ton of health. Even when you have the damage perk enabled, they're still super tanky and it's kind of inconsequential. The concept of this perk isn't terrible, there's just no practical application. It was a little better in Nuclear Winter, but of course that mode is long gone now. It is simply a bad perk for a non-existent playstyle that runs counter to the core experience of 76. Lead Belly. This one is kind of a classic, it's been in the franchise a long time. Lead Belly is a low-level endurance perk that grants resistance to rads consumed in food and water. In Fallout 4 and 76, it could even be ranked up to give you total immunity. I can see why players take this perk. It looks really solid on the surface, and in the early game, right away can be hard to come by. And of course, survival on Fallout 4 makes this perk seem a little bit more attractive, but it only has minor utility in the early game, and then after a few levels, it basically becomes irrelevant. Unless you're playing some hardcore modded experience like Frost, rads are generally not a huge issue, and minimizing rads from food and drink is generally not substantial at all. Even if you are taking a bunch of rads because you can't stop eating Salisbury steak or something, you can just visit a doctor. If you think of being a little tough on Lead Belly, consider this. Through all of your adventures in the wasteland, have you ever thought to yourself, wow, I'm so glad I have Lead Belly on and I don't take 5 rads from that can of cram. This isn't the worst perk, and it's not even the worst rad mitigation perk, we'll get to that soon. But you'd be better off putting a point into toughness or life giver. Junk Rounds. This is a Fallout New Vegas perk that was added in Dead Money. It requires 6 luck and 45 repair, which is kind of ridiculous. It allows you to craft ammo using scrap metal and tin cans at a reloading bench. Yet another perk that seems okay on the surface, but you need 5 scrap metal, 1 tin can, and a shell casing to create a single round of ammunition. 1 round. That's it. Crafting is always a nice addition to any RPG, but the resources needed for junk rounds are absolutely out of tune. Are you honestly willing to carry around that much junk just to get a couple extra rounds of ammunition? You would actually get more ammo if you sold everything at a vendor and then bought the ammo instead. Oh, and you can only use regular tin cans as well, not the bent ones that are everywhere, so it's like annoying as shit. Junk rounds is a solid idea, implemented poorly, and it has a high stat requirement as like a nice little fuck you on top. Vans. Vans, or Vault-Tec Assisted Navigational System, is an intelligence perk in Fallout 4. It adds a green path to your active quest or destination. If you have the Nuka Roll DLC, you can give this a 2nd rank that adds 2 perception, giving you the ability to go over the normal 10 limit. Okay. You know, I don't want to roll too hard on a perk that's designed to help new players. Well, and not just new players. It can help anyone that's lost or having trouble navigating the game, but it's specifically useful for new vault dwellers. It's easy to support accessibility features that help people enjoy the game, but I think if Fallout 4 was released now, it would just be something that you could toggle on and off in the menu. Kind of like Starfield. I mean, Starfield basically already has bans. But when it's included as a perk, it stands out as basically useless. The game already has a map and an on-screen compass. You can Google things, you can look around, you can pause the game. It wasn't a good perk at launch, but 10 years later, this thing is utterly pointless. Personally, I think the green marker is actually more confusing. Honest advice, don't take this perk. Even if you're confused, just push through with the tools you already have on hand. And getting a little lost and turned around is kind of part of the Bethesda game experience. It happens to the best of us. Quantum Chemist. I have beef with the mere concept of this perk. It's from Fallout 3, and it automatically converts 10 Nuka-Colas in your inventory into 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum. If you're carrying 9, when you pick up the 10th, the stack will automatically be converted. It was added in Broken Steel. It requires level 22 and 70 science, which isn't even noted in the game, by the way. But that doesn't matter because nobody should take this. I never, ever, ever want anything to interact with my inventory and remove my direct control. What if I wanted those Nuka-Colas to restore my health rather than AP? It's a weird, unorthodox perk, so why does it exist? I personally believe it's there to circumvent sloppy design. There are a limited number of quantums in the game world, 95 total, plus a chance for them to spawn in vending machines. So it's fair to consider them a finite resource. But there's a bunch of other content in the game that's dependent upon having a reliable source of quantum, like, for example, crafting Nuka grenades or doing Sierra's quest. It's entirely possible for players to gulp down their entire stock of Nuka-Cola Quantum before they even meet Sierra and get the quest, which makes it far more difficult or potentially impossible to complete. Quantum Chemist is an awkward and roundabout solution to a very niche game issue locked behind a DLC. There's basically no reason to consider this perk unless you've accidentally drank like 50 Nuka-Cola Quantums. They should have just made Nuka-Cola Quantums available at vendors. Like, a perk is just a really awkward solution to this problem. And it really doesn't solve anything anyway, because no matter what we do, she will be back in Fallout 4. She always comes back. Sierra is eternal. Rad Tolerance. Rad Tolerance is a perk that aims to solve a completely non-existent problem. It requires level 26 and endurance 7, and it was added in Broken Steel, which is kind of crazy because this is a mandatory late game perk, which is nuts. You have to be level 26. This is insane. So you're in the late game, you pick Rad Tolerance, what do you get? You suffer no effects from minor radiation poisoning, which, by the way, is only -1 endurance. It only negates the first level of radiation sickness, and it has no effect whatsoever on the other levels. Literally removing all of your rads only costs 100 caps at a doctor. Radaway exists, and it's not like level 1 radiation sickness is anything more than a minor inconvenience at best. And the design of this perk also displays like a minor misunderstanding of how the core game mechanics work. You're constantly taking little ticks of rad damage. Yeah, eventually they add up and you have to go get it addressed. But rads really only matter when you're taking very, very large doses in very, very short periods of time. Otherwise, it's just business as usual. It doesn't matter. Maybe this perk could have saw a minor amount of play if it was actually level 1. If you could take it early, save yourself a little bit of money, save some resources at the start of a new run. Even then you would get more XP and it would outlive its relevance super duper quickly. Rad Tolerance is such a pathetic perk. I mean, I see more helpful shit while walking dog meat. Basher. This perk is a total meme. Basher requires 8 strength, insane, and it increases the damage done by your gun butt attack. In Fallout 4, there are 4 levels and the last enables crit damage, which is actually kind of nice. In 76, there are 2 levels, but no crits. This perk is so worthless. It's really only for content creators like Jabbo doing challenge runs. But then again, everything's a challenge run for Jabbo.
It's time for a head-to-head matchup with the mighty Novatron.
Okay, I kid. I literally love Jabbo. I think he's amazing. We are a very lucky community to have such a wonderful content creator, but you know, that's it. That's all I want to talk about how much I love Jabbo. Back to Basher, and I think this footage speaks for itself. Look at it. Just look at it. A big part of the issue here is that melee perks don't affect your gun bashing. It might save you in a pinch every once in a while when you can gun bash instead of reloading an empty weapon, but it's such a minor benefit for investing that much into this perk. 8 strength, 4 points, and then you're basically tickling enemies to death. Here and now. I cannot believe how long this perk was in the franchise. It's a straight up trap. Here and Now is an instant level up. You'll jump up 1 experience level, gaining those stats while forfeiting a perk slot. It's a total noob trap. First, you're sacrificing one of your precious perks for a terrible deal. You will have 1 less perk over the course of your run. Horrifically bad deal. Horrifically bad. It can be situationally tempting though, like when you're trying to hit a stat check and you're just like 1 level short. But if you take this perk, you're just going to end up much weaker in the end. It's not a perk, it's a punishment for being impatient. If you ever find yourself considering Here and Now, pick something else. Really, honestly, pick anything else. And then go do a couple side quests, grind out, find some monsters to kill, make a little XP, and you'll be clear-headed and good to keep going on your run. Here and Now is an objectively bad choice, and I strongly encourage you to avoid it at all costs. All right, just a quick little break. The #1 worst perk in Fallout is coming up next. I wanted to thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time and support. Hope you're enjoying the video. These are perks that are bad or buggy or pointless, but they weren't quite the worst, so they didn't make the list. Fortune Finder. There are a million ways to make caps. Why do you need a perk? You don't need this. Swift Learner. 10% bonus XP is completely inconsequential. Night Person. It doesn't matter how good a bonus effect is, only having it between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. is super frustrating. Computer Whiz. So you need an extra guess before you get locked out of a terminal, huh? How lazy are you? Just back out and try again. This is a completely pointless perk. Ricochet. Really bad perk, but a very easy way to get lots of friendly characters killed if that's what you're looking for. Okay, gang, here we go. The worst perk in Fallout is In Shining Armor. If you know, you know, and you probably expected this. This has to be the #1 worst perk because it literally does not work. It's supposed to grant +5 damage threshold against energy weapons, plus an additional 2 if you're wearing a reflective helmet or glasses. But because of a bug, it has no effect at all. This was a cruel joke added in dead money, which kind of checks out because that entire DLC is a cruel joke. If you're absolutely committed to the meme, you can pick it up if you have 20 repair and 70 science. But seriously, just like don't take it. It's not good at all. Friends, don't let friends spend a perk point on In Shining Armor. I mean, I take it just for internet street cred, but that's just me. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to drop a comment and let me know which perk you think is the worst one in Fallout. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again very soon.